Hey, what's going on? Keith from Trigger Happy. I did a video a while back about the concept of a get-home bag, and I made some changes to the bag. A lot of it based on feedback from YouTube watchers, which is pretty cool, and I thought a lot of people had some good feedback and good ideas. But I also think a lot of people either don't understand the concept of a get-home bag, or else they are complete over-planners and go a lot further than I am prepared to go here. To review, or in case you didn't watch the other video, the basic concept of a get-home bag is not the same as a bug-out bag. We are not taking everything from our home and going to a secondary location. This isn't going to be loaded down with literally never-ending supplies. This is kind of a 1 or 2 day survival pack to get us from work or a sporting event, or if you've had a car accident or something of that nature, and get us home or to another point of safety. So you don't need tons and tons and tons of stuff if you're like most Americans and you're not going to be far from home at any given time. Me personally, I have a pretty short travel radius for my work. So I'm not going to take days and days and days of food and supplies and all kinds of stuff, because, quite honestly, I may be no further than 20 miles from home at most for my average job, day. So I really don't need as much as some people on the comments from the last video might suggest. So what have I changed and what's in this bag? Again, we'll start with the bag itself. Still using the Maxpedition Falcon 2. I think, I've taken this on some light camping trips and things with us. It's always riding around in my car. It's still a pretty sturdy pack. Yeah, it's still pretty new, but I think it's well built and serves this purpose well. It's a medium-sized pack, so it's not humongous. And again, it's not a bug out situation. It's an emergency situation, a get home situation. So it's definitely serviceable for what I'm doing with it. On the side here, this is a Condor branded pack that I've attached here to the webbing straps, which is nice that the Falcon has that. This Maxpedition pack has that, so you can attach different things to it. The Condor, it's not quite the same color, but I went with it because it's definitely less expensive. What's in here? This is kind of my water setup. So I've got a clean canteen in here, 40 ouncer. This is a single wall. The reason I went with single wall is this is going to now serve two purposes. This is going to be obviously for water, but this is also going to serve a cooking purpose for me. I cut out some other things, and because it's single wall stainless steel, I can use it for cooking. Also, a YouTuber suggested for space savings, I put my extra socks in the canteen, which I did. Good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but it was wasted space, quite honestly, inside the canteen. So I got a pair of socks hiding down in there, which is great. You definitely want to have a spare change of socks with you. Also in here, I've got my Sawyer water filtration system. These are nice little water filters. You can pick these up for like 20 bucks a lot of places. They work quite well, and you can filter pretty much anything out of water. So if you needed to drink out of God knows what, a pond, a puddle, something like that, yeah, it could be done. Again, in the canteen can be used for water boiling and food prep, so kind of helps save some space there. In the front pocket here, obviously I've got an eating tool hanging here on the side. It's kind of useful. Front pocket, I added a compass. Just something I'm not sure why I left out last time, but got that in here this time. It's a cheapy little compass. Again, I'm not far from home, so I'm not trying to navigate the stars here. I'm just trying to get somewhere in my county, and if I have to take a different route other than roads that I'm used to traveling, it's a good idea to have. This is a little quick boil system that I keep in here, and there's fuel also in another compartment, but You know, good for food prep there again. These are very lightweight, and you know, you can get a water up to a boil pretty quick. And again, if you are in a situation where you don't necessarily want to give away your position, so you don't want to have a large fire, running something like this is a good idea, and I'll show you the gas that it takes here shortly. Threw in a poncho. Somebody suggested I needed a lot of rain gear. I don't find that necessary. One of these little cheapy ponchos is going to work good enough for this setup. Now, again, in a bug out setup, it's a different story. I've got some paracord down in here. I switched out my Zippo lighter, which was quite useless, for just a little Bic lighter. There's also some waterproof matches in here as well. And then there's a magnesium stick, and then I also threw in, I have an everyday carry pocket knife, but I also threw in one of these utility knives. You know, I don't care if I lose it. And so instead of throwing a $70 or $80 knife in here, just throwing one of those cheap utility knives gets the job done as kind of a backup to my everyday carry, which would always be with me anyway. In the top compartment here, there's a little bit of, there's some gauze wrap, and we'll discuss first aid shortly, but I keep rolls of gauze in here kind of as a supplement to my regular pack. Now again, first aid is often an overlooked item. I was surprised that a lot of people don't necessarily pack for first aid in their kits. You need to have some kind of first aid, because you don't want to make the assumption that this kit is going to be used when you're in absolute perfect health and condition. I mean, you may have some minor cuts or bruising or abrasions, whatever. So you want to have some first aid items. Also in here, I threw in some emergency water. This stuff lasts for 5 years. It's just emergency drinking water you can keep in there, and takes up a little bit of room. That's a day's ration, 2 of those, so you could stretch it. And again, we're only planning on using this pack for maybe 3 days at absolute max, so that should be adequate. I do keep a hat here hanging. I don't generally have it hanging on the side, but that's where it's at right now. You want to have something to, you know, cover your face from the sun or whatever. It's not a bad idea. Inside here, somebody suggested having some TP in here, which again is a good idea. Not only is it fire starting material, and obviously its intended purpose, but it's also good for you know, insulation. If I need it, stuff it in a coat or whatever, it provides a little bit of insulation there. Also in this top compartment, I've got a multi-tool that I keep. Here's the fuel can for that little pocket rocket that I had down in there. This will last for a fair amount of time, and also can be safely stored in here. So that's its intended purposes for hiking, so you don't have to worry about this spilling or exploding or anything like that inside your pack. Also, I've got a fixed blade knife down in there, which is certainly useful. And I've got one of these pop-up bowls. These work pretty well. They fold completely flat, and then it will, I don't know why I still have the wrapper on this thing. You can tell it's not been used. You know, just for food prep and things like that. Makes you a nice little bowl. These work pretty good. They're about 16, 17 bucks. Pick that up at REI. Also down in here is my firearm. I do keep a full-size handgun in my pack. I do have an everyday concealed carry, as you probably would expect, so that would also be on me, but I do keep a full-size handgun. And I also keep it's holstered. I'm not sure if you can tell that, but it's in a paddle holster. So you want to keep it holstered, because at some point that thing's going on my hip almost immediately, which also frees up some additional room. But you definitely want to have a firearm. But that being said, you don't need to load it down with a ton of ammunition. I've got 2 spare magazines in here, and that is it. You know, some people obviously opt to carry no firearm. Other people are going to load this thing down with a ton of ammunition. I think that's completely unnecessary, and you know, it's just a lot of extra weight. If I'm in a situation where I need 100 rounds of 9mm, I got a lot bigger problems to deal with. So on in here, I do keep I still keep a blanket in here. I think that's a good thing to have. you'll see here that I do keep maps, as I mentioned in the previous video. Keep maps of where you normally travel, both your county maps and maybe a state map of where you normally are. You may think you know the roads, but don't always count on that. So I definitely always keep a county map and a state map in there. This is a cheapy little first aid kit, but again, it's not really a bug out bag, so I'm not going to have a super high-end first aid kit. I've got a quick clot pack in here as well, trauma pack, which is a good thing to have. I also added some of these emergency food rations. These keep for like 5 years or more, and it's not good stuff, but it works. This is like 3 days worth of rations here. And also I keep some MRE style. I like these Wise brand quick to prepare stuff. Basically just add water to them. So I'd boil water and just add it right to there. A lot of people thought I wasn't keeping food in my pack last time, which was not the case. This pack I've also got a water bladder in, so you can have additional water storage by using that. And basically, so my point is with all this, that's what is in my pack. There's also, there's a flashlight down in here someplace. Yeah, right there. I keep a good flashlight. This is a Streamlight. This is a twin task C-cell, and it's a pretty good flashlight. You definitely want to have that in there with you. So I guess back to what I was getting ready to say, the point is you don't want to be packed full of stuff. I think a lot of people make the assumption that this is going to be a bug out type bag, and like I said earlier, this is not really our intention. I mean, I've used this pack, especially the first aid items out of it, on numerous occasions, just by keeping it in the back of my car. A couple other things I keep in my car in addition to this pack that you don't see here. I do keep a sleeping bag, kind of a lightweight bag. This is more of a summer, down to probably 30-40 degrees is about what you're going to get out of this. But I do keep that in my car as well. I also keep, from a suggestion from a user, something else I didn't pull out of there is like a Mylar emergency blanket that can be used not only as an emergency blanket, but can be used as shelter also. But I keep a 5x8 tarp in my car. So again, if I need quick shelter and I'm going to be leaving, that's lightweight to have a tarp, and I can use the blanket for its intended purpose. So kind of a quick overview. I know we're running on almost 13-14 minutes here, but just want to kind of go over some changes I've made to the original bag, and then kind of just try to clear up some misconceptions about what a get home bag is as opposed to a bug out bag. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.